Hey, so this is a reading for Aquarius energy in the month of September. I did sort of see something that was alluding to the Uranus retrograde energy. Just a flash, I was shuffling. Okay, so you're leaving a situation of like need and lack. I'm almost getting that there's like a recognition of where maybe the things that you haven't been controlling that you do have control over. This is like way too bright. Yeah, I'm seeing in the Judgment card there's like a character like praying, and like prayer is good. So that's not what I'm trying to like. I'm not trying to say that like it's a bad thing, but in this particular context, I almost see that you feel like you were doing a lot of hoping and praying in a certain space that you already have been blessed with the means um, to control, more or less. Something about a social circle may have been preventing you from, I'm hearing, recognizing the reins in your hands. It could be like friends who you've sort of outgrown, but that you still have a good time with the Knight of Wands. Like, I feel like you do enjoy your time with these people, but you may be like outgrowing their like belief system, or like your values may be differing. I see some sort of like, it's the Seven of Swords, and I just want to make sure I'm articulating that energy well. I'm hearing outcast. Mm. Yeah. So I feel like this is talking about you're seeing somebody in your circle, your social circle, possibly a family member with the Ten of Cups. It's like you want to believe like, oh, we're family, like we're really good, but you're kind of seeing their behavior for what it is, which is not in alignment with that narrative that like, oh, we're family. I see you're like disappointed in somebody's it's something they said, but with the Seven of Swords, it could have been like maybe you're catching this person in a lie, or I think you're just seeing their true motive behind their actions and their words, and you're disappointed by it. And I think that that's triggering you to again take those reins and use them. Okay. Now you, or possibly this person, so I see you taking control over what you can, and I think that that is going to bring light to something a little bit bigger about the situation, that maybe you've been not wanting to see for what it is. And it's the Devil card, and that's coming through to me as like an influence. It's just hard to look at. Yeah, there's some kind of like emotional avoidance. Like you're trying to like, with the Two of Pentacles, it's like weighing out maybe you're like constantly looking for holes in this like theory, that it really has to do with something like bigger, but with the Tower reversed ahead of it, it's like this inevitable sort of truth you're going to come down to. And so, okay, really, so what this is telling me is that by way of now controlling the things that are right before you that you can control, you're going to have more energy, time, mental capacity to address the thing that may actually need, you know, prayer, hoping, healing is what I'm hearing. It's like you're shifting your focus from this sort of like, I'm thinking of this tweet that just a little while ago. Every now and then I'll like tweet for the signs, whatever, like one-liners, and it was for Aries, and this is, we're looking at the Queen of Wands for this person that you're like, but it was for Aries, and it was saying that your denial about a situation is keeping you from controlling the things that you can. So that's interesting. But that's kind of the idea, is like you're not denying this stuff now so you can actually address what you have to prepare for. Okay, so ooh. Yeah, it's really just like I'm looking at the shadow for what, what might come up through the situation that I'm kind of getting is going to go down in September. And it's like having to set boundaries where you haven't before, as a means of like protecting your sense of stability. Yeah, you're like dropping what doesn't serve your environment. It's kind of like you're not saving people who don't want to be saved. Getting a little more selfish, but not like selfish, but like selfish, like not as like sacrificial. Something about a book. Like literally putting a book down is what I'm seeing. I heard, I've seen enough. And I say maybe a new boundary because of the Page of Cups, so I'm also kind of getting that could be like you're being more intuitive about how you set boundaries or the boundaries that you do set. So, not really waiting for someone to give you a reason to set the boundary. But just kind of like if you feel like there needs to be one, you just kind of like if you don't have a good feeling about something, that's enough for you to go ahead and like it's a recognition that you have control over your environment. So if something doesn't feel right in your environment, it's you're taking it as a sign that there's something you need to move around. And that's kind of like I see like a shadow thing. So maybe setting boundaries for you is hard. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing these like pigs in the background of the King of Pentacles, and they're like sniffing around. They're hungry. Okay, I'm hearing if you want to eat, like if you want to eat here, you need to follow my rules. Okay, yeah, so I see that this is difficult for you because you like for people to prove the red flags for you before you get to that point of like no more of this. But that really does set you up to be at the mercy of other people and yeah. So what I'm getting from this is that it's the sort of snake behavior, um, sneaking around, not being clear about intentions, you know, slithering around, slimy. It's that behavior that this boundary setting is going to protect you from. Because if you don't go ahead and do that before someone shows you why they're not trustworthy, um, you're literally holding space for that behavior. Like you're holding space for that sneaky. I get that this is kind of like also a tempting way for you to go. Sort of just like playing along, listening, taking notes, waiting for evidence of the red flags because there's a shadow space where you feel you can control the, I'm hearing scandal, but it doesn't have to be like a big thing. Just like you can control the direction of it's like this belief that like you can tell the snakes where to go if you like listen to them talk. So I would maybe meditate or journal on that and sort of figure out why it is that you feel the need to do, I'm hearing do the work, to do that shadow work for those snakes. I'm hearing you're more influential when you set the boundary because they're not, it was a little harsh, but they're not inspired by your mercy or your grace or like your patience about the situation. They're just like they think it's like something they did. They think like, oh, that was slick. I pulled that off. Like And a snake if you see a snake, they're being a snake to you. No. I mean, that's what I heard, but like, it's this like idea that like people who gossip a lot, they probably do the same thing about you. A snake to someone else is a snake to you. That's it. All right. So meditate on that. And think about boundaries boundaries don't always have to be this like black or white thing. Like, your boundary for this person doesn't have to be like, you can never come through my house again. Like, your boundary can be, figure out what your conditions are to maintain this like King of Pentacles energy where like you feel like you have control over your safe space. When is enough enough? Like, specifically. And then communicate and set that boundary. But that's what's coming through as the advice is, again, to meditate and particularly on the point at which you would ask someone to leave. So identify, like, what would you have to see? What would you have to just, like, have confirmed for you? To, like, without hesitation, tell this person, the snake, whatever, to leave. What would it have to be? And then I get the sense that that will sort of help you identify, like, that you've seen the red flags for that thing already, and that you're kind of just waiting for maybe a confession. I don't know, but that is putting you in a vulnerable position. So I definitely see the protectiveness over your energy and your space there. So it's pretty exciting in that you're going to have more control over that where you didn't before. So I wish you a happy September. I hope this is helpful.